Women's History Month with one of New York's very own. Behind every good man, well, they say there's an even greater woman, right?
That's right.
And that's definitely the case with Ingrid Lewis-Martin, the Brooklyn native who serves as the chief advisor to Mayor Adams.
Just last month, Ingrid Lewis-Martin was presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Major movement in the migrant crisis. Let's talk about this. Legality around the right to shelter law seems to be shifting. Mayor Adams challenging who the law pertains to, arguing it should not mean the city is responsible to house the thousands of asylum seekers coming here to New York City.
The city has always been a sanctuary city. They should come to any place in the country that they desire their pursuit of the American dream.
So with me now to talk about this and more is senior advisor to Mayor Eric Adams, Chief. Thank you for correcting. Chief advisor, Ingrid Lewis-Martin. Appreciate you being here.
Happy to be here. That happens a lot, but there's only one chief.
You got it. Yeah, that's right. We talked about you last time you were here about that title,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
lots to cover here. The ruling by the Staten Island judge says the right to shelter should not include migrants. Now, the mayor seemingly agrees, right? So where do we go from here?
In court. We are actually in court arguing that very same thing. So we're hopeful that the ruling in Staten Island can be used to our benefit. That has been our argument from day one. The right to shelter was intended for our indigenous homeless population. So we argue that we should not have to shelter all of these immigrants. That's why it's important that the federal government does its job and close the borders. It's important that the federal government declare New York City as a state of emergency because we are in an emergency state.
Ingrid, if the right to shelter changes, right, do you anticipate some of the financial burden being alleviated as well as the numbers of migrants arriving here, because we're looking at that 5% cuts?
We're hopeful, but it will not be soon enough. For example, we spent in excess of $2 billion last year. This year we projected to be a total of $5 billion.
Yeah. And
then next fiscal year, a total of $12 billion. We don't see that changing unless the federal government, again, does its job. We still have the 61,400. Unless they put them throughout the states, all 50 states. We're stuck with them.
We have been welcoming. We have been gracious. We have been supportive. But we have to point out the fact and make sure that people coming across the border who think there are plentiful hotel rooms and services in New York City, we hit our capacity.
What specifically do you want?
Numbers of people can come in. Well, we want them to have a limit on who can come across the border. It is too open right now. People coming from all over the world are finding their way through, simply saying they need asylum, and the majority of them seem to be ending up in the streets of New York, and that is a real problem for New York City. Now, we are always so proud of the fact that New York has the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. We are one of the most diverse places on earth because of our welcoming nature, and it's in our DNA to welcome immigrants. But there has to be some limits in place, and Congress has to put more controls at the border.
The city has always been a sanctuary city. They should come to any place in the country that they desire their pursuit of the American dream.
The city is being destroyed by the migrant crisis.
Our cup has basically runneth over.
I guess Greg Abbott was right. He said once he got blue cities to deal with this, that they would be very upset at the federal government.